All right, so I'm going to wrap it up. But like I said, after people had found out that he had passed away, I know one of the friend groups, her mom had passed away years earlier than that. And I wasn't able to attend because of all the death and funerals and time that I took off to attend other ones. But I reached out and told her that I couldn't and stuff like that. But like I said, nobody attended the funeral and no one followed up with me as regards to why they didn't or anything like that. I just let it be. But then that same friend that I told you I got closer because we both were kind of going through marital relational things. She had different events at her house. I would still go to. It was doing prior to and after. Like I said, prior to she didn't know that he was sick or anything like that. But when she did, she didn't attend and she didn't, follow up or text me or let me know anything that she had just initially reached out. All of them in regards to just like finding out the details and stuff like that. But after the funeral and all that stuff, like I said, I didn't hear anything about why they didn't attend or anything like that. I just let it be. I was like, really after doing all that planning, really kind of like grieving, kind of like, I'm saying, it was kind of settling in. Because when you're in the mix of planning and doing all of that, you really like, I know I was like numb for a lot of it. So she had did some other events and stuff like that at her church, and I had went. And when I went, now this is when my husband already had passed and stuff like that. Like I said, I didn't hold nothing against them and stuff like that. I needed the support, but I wasn't like angry or mad, but I was hurt. And it when I went to this event, it let me know how much I was hurt. So she had an event at her church, and I went to support. And then I saw the other three friend groups that did not attend the funeral, but they were at this event. And they came and gave me a hug and stuff like that. But I was so hurt that I got up and went to the bathroom and I just cried because I felt like, here it is, I thought we were better friends than that. So it was really like a sucker punch, what I'm saying, a gut punch, I'll say, to my gut. And I was just like, couldn't understand. I had questions about different things. But like I said, I still don't have anything bad to say. That's my situation. That's what happened. But, what I had to realize is that the spirit of discernment is very important. People evolve, friendships evolve. There were so many different factors. They were also going through different things in their life, their marriage, their relationships. Some of them were moms, some was going back to school. So I'm not to say that everything revolved around me. I'm not going to say that. But I would say I'm the type of person, if somebody needs support and stuff like that, I like to show myself available. You know what I'm saying? Even if I can't do it in funds, or if I can't do it in funds, I'll do both, funds and show up. You know what I'm saying? But God had really just showed me a lot. And then even with the funeral, not all of my family and stuff like that, but it was a particular family member that I didn't even know was coming. God had let me know, not everybody's coming, you know what I'm saying, to support. Some people are spectators, you know what I'm saying. They want to see how messy it's going to be. Oh, you don't got insurance, you don't got this, I wonder what it's going to look like. And these are things that were hard for me to kind of digest because I didn't want to face a truth like that. So in the Dark Night of the Soul and Spiritual Awakening video, like I said, I had to sit in pain that I did not want to sit in. I felt like, Lord, I'm already grieving. Why are you bringing all these things to my knowledge and my, remembrance? These things I hadn't even really kind of pondered on and thought like that. But I'll just say this, you live and you learn. And when you are chosen, when you have a call in your life, you don't know what you have to endure. You don't know what you have to deal with. And it wasn't like I was naive to the fact. I knew that certain things were changing in some of those friend groups as well, but they wasn't as close to me, you know what I'm saying? But we were close enough that we would attend. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, one of my friends, she lost both of her babies back to back, and I was there. I was at the hospital. I held her, deceased, child. And you would think that she would return that in regards to knowing that I was there for her in her time of need, that in my time of need that she would be there. And it got to the point I was just so hurt, and she would just text, do invites and invites, and I got to the point I was just ignoring her because she never acknowledged, you know what I'm saying, where I was at. She never acknowledged, and none of them, brought anything to my house or anything like that, gave me any cash or anything, like nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I just was really, really hurt by it. And I was hurt by some other things too. I'm not going to go into details about that because this video is about family and friends, of God showing me the hearts of people. But like I said, sometimes, the wool have to come over your eyes, and God wanted me to understand, not to say that people are bad, but not everybody's meant to be in fellowship with you friendship wise, you know what I'm saying? And I had to realize that I was responsible for assessing the relationships in my life, and I learned that now. No matter where I'm at in my life now, I'm going to assess. Nobody is exempt. So I have very stricter boundaries after this season. Like I said, I'm not in my promise yet, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not all the way in the wilderness like I was, you know what I'm saying? In that transitional, type period. But I've learned a lot about friendships. I've learned a lot about trust. I've learned a lot about discernment. I learned a lot about being too transparent, and I still have to work on that, but I've come way further than where I was at, with that. Like I said, I don't wish any of them bad. If they text me now, I will respond. I don't have none of them blocked to this day. And we haven't even talked about it. And my husband passed in 2024. It's 2026 when I'm recording this. Excuse me. So, like I said, I'm not one to hold grudges or animosity towards one another. Like I said, it's just what happened. It's just a thing that happened in my past, what I'm saying? But I've learned a lot from it, and God has wanted me to talk about it and speak about it. And a lot of times too, it may be other people out there that may be struggling with accepting truths about your family, or accepting truths about your friendship, or even about yourself, in a way that you monitor and you filter out, who's to be in your life and who's not to be in your life. Not everybody's meant to go where you're going. And at one level, that was good for us to be. We were really interconnected. Like I said, we celebrate each other's birthday. We had different events. We sung in the choir together. I mean, we did a lot of things together. But as time matriculates and as time go on, that doesn't mean that those same relationships you're going to continue to have. Sometimes you evolve. People change and evolve on you into other places, and you can change and evolve as well and go to other places. And it doesn't have to be a nasty thing. Does it have hurt? Does it have pain? Yeah, it does. I'm not going to lie and sit and say that I wasn't hurt by it. God had to heal me, and He's healed me from that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if they needed anything or anything like that, I have nothing nasty, nothing rude to say about them. I love them all, and I wish them all the well. And they're still progressing and flourishing in life as well. We all have our times and struggles, but like I said, I don't wish anything against them. But God had to really teach me about that, and I'll share what He had talked to me about, what He showed me about a bank account. When people want to open up an account, you just can't open up an account at any bank that you see. Oh, I like Bank of America. Oh, I like Wells and Fargo. Oh, I like Navy Federal Credit Union. Oh, I like Chase. You know what I'm saying? You may like all the different things about these different banks. They may offer different benefits, but each place that you go, each bank institution, each financial institution that you go to, you have to put an application in. You just can't go just pull up and say, I'm just going to be a member. No, you have to be qualified. I'm telling you how it showed me, and it brought tears to my eyes. And this is way before. This is years when he first started dealing with me about looking at the conditions of my friendships. And he let me know, you are responsible for what comes in and out of your account, because at the end of the day, you're going to be redlined if you don't. I have to make sure that I'm doing my checks and balances to make sure that reciprocity is given, that you are given equal or greater value in the friendship. And I did not do that before. One, I didn't have the time to do it. Two, I didn't have the discernment to do it. Three, and I didn't make enough time to do it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. So I am sharing what the Lord has given me to share with you. It's our responsibility to do ongoing assessments, ongoing audits of our friends, of our family, and of ourselves, especially to be in tune and stay in tune with Christ. Because how many know, that, like I said, there's different types of friendships. God and the disciples that he had different ranges of friendships and relationships that he had with his disciples. Judas played a part, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not calling any of my friends Judas. I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm just saying you have to know who dwells among you, and that's word. That's Bible. And like I said, I'm at fault for that, and he had to teach me that and teach me the importance of ongoing assessing of my relationships. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share. Like I said, this has definitely been one of the tougher things to talk about and share, because it's so near and dear to me. Like I said, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I hold my friendships and my family members near and dear to my heart. So if I let somebody go, you best believe it took something for me to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to do that because I'm a type of person, I'm a very forgiving person as well, and God let me know I can be all of that. But at the end of the day, not every friendship that you started is going to always be the friendship that you finish in. And it's time for me to meet new people. It's time for me to have people on this level of frequency, on this alignment, on this ascension, on this level of deliverance. You know what I'm saying? And to really know what support looks like, to really have people that's there for you for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say this too. I'm not innocent. I may have not been in places and things that they may have needed me. I don't know about some of those things if they hadn't told to me about them. But I know that I made intentions to show up for people. I wasn't one to just, be a friend over the phone or be a friend via text. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my part, and I hope that these wilderness seasons series are blessing you all. Definitely like, comment and share or to me, what you may be getting out of them. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just being obedient because I feel like the Lord hadn't brought me all the way out, and I'm like, well, Lord, why would you have me do all these videos and talk about my life, tell my business, and you haven't even brought me out yet, and I'm still going through different things as well as we speak. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was when I first got into the wilderness, and that's coming up next. All of the different major warfares, that's going to be part 5. So hopefully you enjoy hearing all the series. I'm all the way up now to part 4, 4A and 4B. So we've been rocking and rolling. The Lord has been giving me what to say, and like I said, sometimes I go out, just know if it goes out, I feel like that's the Lord. He don't want me to say anything else on that, and I move on. So if you see that, just know that that's intentional. I'm not trying to take away or add anything to the videos that I don't necessarily need to add. But I just wanted to share that. Like I said, I'm a real person in real time who was in a backslidden state, and God had brought me out of a backsliding posture, and now he's got me just like I said, he's let me know who I am in him. He's let me know my calling. He's let me know that I'm chosen. And like I said, a lot of times we don't look at our lives or different things, and sometimes some things are harder to accept. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see the signs, sometimes you can see the different things, because he was showing me different things about how like that one particular friend, how she was moving, you know what I'm saying, with certain things, like, it was just certain things, but like I said, I would ponder on certain things, but I never really would kind of like, like I was like, oh, for throwing out, go on, but sometimes God would sit you down, you hear me? Sit you down and sit you in your pain for you to process, because before he can deposit that purpose in you, you got to be able to be flushed and cleansed out of all of that, and we got to be able to be woke and be attentive, you know what I'm saying, and acknowledge where we may have went off track as well, because it's our responsibility at the end of the day to steward our friendships, to steward our life, you know what I'm saying, to steward what he gives to us, and that includes friendship and family as well. Not every family, the word even talks about foes, you know what I'm saying, so this is nothing crazy, this is nothing new under the sun, like I said, the book of Solomon, but these are some of the lessons that I've learned as it relates to family and friends. So hopefully it bless you. Talk to you later.